Oh, this must be where they march through. What you think?
I don't remember.
Stay out of the offices, please! Stand by back. Going in? Just keep it up. Yeah. Okay, we're going back. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, this is the Ministry of Defense where UNIT is headquartered.
I remember that. We're at the River Thames. Right across from Whitehall.
That is Whitehall. I guess that's the offices of the British government. I guess. We could walk across here.
What is that?
It's a rail bridge, but we could take this one. Don't we want to go to that?
Maybe it's sunset.
Ooh, look. Something's happening.
Happening.
It is blocking the street. What is today?
What's going on? Do this every day? Or?
That's the bridge I go.
All right.
That
Good one.
It's nice.
I can see every window.
It was great today. I mean, you know, it was really good.
Watch out for me.
Okay, people coming. People coming.
Disappointing, isn't it?
clear. Walk backwards.
Dude, flat now, flat.
Oh, she said that that obelisk is Egyptian. It was brought here. And it's 3,000 years old.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Yeah.
Like that Lakota jacket that they won't give back. They cut that too. The Lakotas want it back and they won't give it. Let's see if finders keepers.
Dalek
Oh, and the police box has an open door.
and a TARDIS.
This is the Statue of Liberty from the Little Shop of Horrors.
Let's go inside.
Yeah. Here's the bubble.
Yeah.
It was after Sarah. His feet are backwards.
Geraldine! Geraldine!
Can you get up there?
Come on up!
What's up there?
Well, it's the way. It's the way.
Sure, you're doing filming this stuff. Barely here. Finally,
Two.
Two tickets. Are they adult tickets? Are they concessions? Adults or concessions? Any concessions?
No.
Students unemployed, disabled, over 60, obviously not over 60.
Airline.
No, I'm not kidding, no. Two full prices, $6.25 each, the 12 together. You paying cash? Cash, yeah, got paying cash, okay. That's fine, I just give you £2 to change. That's £2 change there. The total large is just for turnstiles on the right hand side. Thank you. Just really this one. Just follow the yellow arrows that will you around.
Oh, all right. And the gift store is that on the way out?
Yeah, that's what you now.
essais, pour ceux d'entre vous qui ont eu quelques moments de terreur, voilà maintenant la seule vraie et terrible histoire. Fort ou faible, roi ou sujet, adepte ou ingénieux, l'eau ou l'air. Voilà ce que vous ferez un jour. Souvenez-vous.
no place like home. There's no place like welcome to my attention, my dear. My honourable pressure entertainment at your service at all times. Hope you enjoy all I have to offer. Please ask questions whenever you like. Through those doors you will find magic, wonder and entertainment, the kind of which you can only dream about. Today is 1896, my darling. Getting about one of the what was leaving got me yet. Getting about shone through the field to carry us there. We search through the world of metal. Welcome, my dears. Are you well? You are well. Of course, naturally. Welcome, my dear. Thank you very much for all I have for them. It's a far from the correct your service at all times. And please ask questions when you want to know more. Well, follow the arrows of the wall, actually. Whilst in the day, discuss the wall. Now you see, you are seeing the arrows, discuss the wall. Yellow arrows make look like bricks.
All this bit in here is where the home
There's no place like home. There's no place Welcome, gentlemen. Hope you enjoy your time with us in the establishment. There is much to see. Through those doors, magic and wonder awaits you. Great fun. There's no place like home. There's no place Welcome, my dears. Step downstairs. And you wonder what you will great abundance. Got all the factory, fresh entertainment, with open business as always. Step down and you will be amazed and say the way not complete.
Les deux grandes époques de l'homme sont son entrée sur la vie et tout ce qui arrive entre-temps peut être considéré comme étant placé entre deux voiles impénétrables de vide qui cachent ces deux époques et que personne n'a encore soulevé. Instance mortuaire règne de l'autre côté du voile funéraire. Et c'est pour remplir ce silence que magiciens, sibylles et prêtres de l'ancienne Égypte utilisent les illusions d'un art inconnu que je vais maintenant m'employer à vous démontrer devant vos yeux. ceux d'entre vous qui ont peut-être souri à mes essais, pour ceux d'entre vous qui ont eu quelques moments de terreur, voilà maintenant la seule vraie et terrible mission. Fort net, roi ou sujet, avec ma famille, voilà ce que vous serez un jour.
Oh, the nice girls love a tartan, for there's something about a sailor. Well, you know what sailors are.
Ladies and gentlemen, roll up, roll up, roll up. Once, time only, half an hour. No time. Right. Gather down, we're back to the next about 10.
Stand by. Okay, go. Faster. Faster.
There he is.
Okay.
Is that fractured his wheel?
That is. Oh, look, the images, look at more.
I see.
Look, there's yellow big arrow. I know the thing on look at that. Oh, the eagle. You can do it. I don't think you can.
I can't see it, can you? Is that it?
Yeah. It's a boy with sticks on his back in a wagon.
Look at the hole. Yeah. It's got the one over there as well. Yeah, I know. TV. Where's TV on it? I didn't look, they're jumping out. There's mounds. They're dying for it. Down. jumping and going, wait, oh, I like to look through the holes. 1, 2, try, do away. They're jumping through. They're jumping like it. Oh, yeah.
However, I'm ready for you now. Dr. John says, no thank you. Oh, no, thank you very much. Thank you. Leave us. No more by elephants.
These cameras. Wow.
Let's just
See what you can do with that.
And the man underneath is jumping in an island now.
Exactly. Now, I'll show you. On the top then, you have daytime. Right. In the middle then, you have the nighttime slide. And at the bottom then, you have the snow slide. Alright? What it is, you want 3 photographs.
This is
Right? You've got 4 photographs. Then it's fast. And then bring up snow so you can form it like that. Now this third slide, another piece of glass as well. It's the positive slide. Gives you camera see he's not there. The other one here, they can't see
Yes,
that
that's
way.
what God. And no, some.
Then you have
On camera. How come you've got a trigger? Yeah, but that's the rifle, isn't it? I know it's like, see that? Yeah. And when you start that, that's over. here's the holiday.
Sorry about that, it gets pretty warm half No. Magic Land, I can show you. I know slides. Oh, this was made, sorry, I didn't tell it, but it was made about 50 years ago in 1890. About 1896. It's only 1896 at the moment.
Almost. Oh, the wings going up.
Yes.
Looks as they fly.
Some of them are hand painted, some of them are transfers, and some are photographs. Thank you, my pleasure.
That's really good. I think those are just really good. Right back. And I got back. It's straight up in this. That's why I'm listening to a lot. Like what? I want to go to rock thing. Yeah. Madden Tussauds. Yeah. What do you want to And I want to do this one rock and tumble and I'm doing boxing. This one is stuff. No, I'm doing rock and tumble. But I'm doing boxing. This is you can search by it.
Can you tell me what this is?
This is the Magic Lantern, sir. It's built about 1893, so that's about 3 years ago. It showed glass painted slides on a screen or a wall. It's lit by limelight, limelight being limestone heated up using oxygen and hydrogen gases. Glows each piece of limestone glows very brightly to give you a white, bright light which shines through the lenses on the 3 lenses there. And this is called a triunial lantern because it's got 3 lenses, meaning tri, and unial, meaning joined together.
What's the purpose of the 3?
You can do many different effects by using the 3. You can overlay slides on top of other slides. You can do what we call dissolving images, where you have the same picture and you can make nightfall, and then you can change the season over the same picture without needing to take your slides in and out of the lantern.
Thank you.
My pleasure. This slide as broken.
It is. It's got mirrors, you see.
I need 10 pence. Ooh, it's not working in the video. Hold it back some. focus on it, huh?
I saw it with boxers. It looked really good.
That was with the kinetic.
That was impressive.
I did it and then
Really looked like movies.
50-foot endless loop.
we've got a pig for them. Well, I thought she's in, she's nice. I just didn't think we could clean it in the
This is where 35 millimeter became the standard from Kinetic.
You've got to take
I know, you're sticking with it.
Go ahead, sorry.
No problem.
I noticed them. In your way.
It's really cute. He's getting zapped over there.
Wonder of the century, cinematograph, invented by those two companies there. Last year, 1895. Train will stay on the platform. I've no worries about it being brand new and brand new. You're all right. Don't worry about that. You're all right. It will stay on the platform. One off. Now, the first one, the first thing that I'll train. Yeah, the first film I ever did was on the 12. It's working with Data system. What, the voice system? Voice to radio, I'm happy to do this. Yeah, but I must start it into the target. And there is.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And their daughter, on grey. Now, if you look about you, up by the window, you can just see a reflection of a lady in a hat. You see that? Well, that is our little lady who's standing somewhere in front of the, behind the camera, making the face of the lady, trying to attract the baby's attention. And in fact, baby will suck on that little cracker, and then offer it to us in eyes, so you next to it. The leaves in the background will be causing more of a surprise and amazement than the foreground action. Everybody's seen people moving flip books and kinetoscopes and things. They've never seen a small movement like leaves before. It proves to everybody that it's real life. Now this is the very first one they've done. Work within the factory in Lyon. They Lumiere run a photographic factory in Lyon. Their father started it and they continue it. And you may wonder why all the ladies and gentlemen are wearing their fine clothes and their fine hats. This is because they were told before that on the film, so the old timers were wearing their Sunday clothes, so they could see the scene in the
And Eclair. On how IMO. Fought World War II.
These are all different kinds of movies. some of the early ones, look, that's look how big the wooden ones are.
Oh, that's big.
And then in a few years later, you'd have this size, the small ones, see that make it?
Yeah.
That's one of those.
And that gets more to our days.
Hmm?
That gets more to our days.
Yeah, it does, but it's far more like that. It's really good. But in fact, compare that, you know my video camera? Yeah. How big that is compared to my video? Okay. Look, right here. These are all different bits of film. Can you see that? Now, can you see what I mean about movement? Look, there's trains there in that one, and it slowly moves further and further to the right. You see those really quickly one after the other. You think the train's moving, but in fact, it isn't moving, is it? Is it? It's just it's being photographed very quickly. Up here. Please, look at the size of these. It's tiny little picture.
I thought you could see something.
Then you just reverse the film, so it's backwards. It looks at the ones that go in.
Hey!
Look at the house. Yeah, you know, every bit that they want to take, what is all that. And this is the last one on this street there. The rest of you are alone. And this is all that, a little baby. And the man who wrote it was directed it. This man is well, this is his dog. Guess what his dog is called? Long Blair. And he's very cross. And this film, guess how much it cost to make?
Tuppence. Tuppence is less than one new pence.
But I was
Baby and kid, that film is not a kid.
You find it?
I love Ingvar Hans
What's scary in the
Yes.
They are. Yeah, you can go on through, it's not enough. Yeah, please do. Just outside of London. There's the evil man. Right, I'm going to carry on, but if you want to go on through the room, right, it's up to you. If you want to. Actually, the sign on the left-hand side, alright? Famous authors. This is the life of Charles Dickens. It's a true story about a man who wasn't very nice, and he was sent to stand trial in Manchester. And on his way there, he tried to escape. We're going to see that now. Now, on his way also, the train carriage is meant to be moving, right? You know a train goes along and moves, but I don't reckon it's moving. If you look at the reflections in the windows here, they're not moving at all, are they? See that? They're not moving, are they? See what I mean? So it can't be moving. It's a trick, isn't it? And now, he's trying to escape. And what they do is they stop the camera, replace the actor with a dummy, start the camera again and throw out the dummy. Look real, isn't it? Do you think? And this was made by Mr. William Haggard. Here he is trying to escape. He's going to be caught. All right. Yes, it was what, rest? Oh, this is Hamlet. Have you heard of Mr. William Shakespeare? Yeah, he wrote lots of plays, right? And he wrote Hamlet, a very famous play set in Denmark. But they couldn't afford to go over to Denmark to film it, so instead they made it at Lulworth Cove in Dorset. And this is Sir Johnston Forbes Robertson, the greatest Hamlet of our day he is, and he appears in a production at Drury Lane. And this whole film is based on that particular production. Now, in a moment, we're going to see Hamlet's father. Here he is, Hamlet's father, a ghost, and that's using what we call double exposure technique. And in these early films, the camera is only just starting to move with the actors. Unfortunately, in the next clip coming up, it goes a bit wrong, because the cameraman is meant to follow Hamlet. And unfortunately, it goes the opposite way. You see what I mean? In just 1 minute, you watch this. Now, Mr. Hepworth, the producer of these films, says to the cameraman, "Follow Hamlet," so he goes. And off he goes, and look at him, he goes totally the wrong way. Look at this. No, wrong. Follow Hamlet. You see that? Dear how he do. He's just got the heel, hasn't he? And a nice panoramic view of Lulworth Cove instead, how nice. Now, do you think that the acting's a bit over the top in these films?
Yeah.
Yes, I do as well. Do you think they're a bit big? Yes? I'll tell you why this is. This is because actors in this day, they still think they're on stage. You see how big he is? He still thinks he's on a big stage with an audience hundreds of feet away. He doesn't realise that the camera, being very close, the camera would only be about that far away from you. You've got to make all your gestures a lot smaller, right? So you don't look a bit silly sometimes. You watch these. Now, he's a very good actor on stage, Mr. Robinson. No, one of the greatest he is. But on film, he's just a little bit over the top. Woof, goes. Oh, very posh film come out. Yeah, pass on through when you've had enough, ladies and gentlemen. Don't feel as if you've got to stay all day. But, what is this called? L'assassinat de Duc de Guise. Oh, it's lovely, this is. Oh, a bit classy, yes, very hoity-toity. Made by a group of gentlemen, called La Film d'Art, they are. And they only filmed theatrical. Now, what I've known, they're beautiful. Do you not feel that it's sitting in a pit? Just when it's sitting in a pit. Now it's got the time taken to it, so it's sitting in a That's very good. They're from an acting group called the Comedia Française. They're a very famous acting troupe in Paris. They also have very good performances there. And the composer of this film is Camille Saint-Saëns, the composer. It's all about the assassination of the Duke of Guise and the so it's just back to here now. There you go. Oh, the greatest actress of all time, my next one, ladies and gentlemen. One and only, bye. The great Sarah Bernhardt. Oh, wonderful she is, saying Queen Elizabeth I.
Look at the ship! Look at the ship and look at the men running into it.
So, stand like that when you look at this one, mate.
Titanic.
He's just married Geraldine Farrar, an American. And this film was very well made because Adam Super, who distributed it, made so much money from it that he was going off to the cinema to see the one and only Sarah Bernhardt that he decided to make his own film called Ava There we go.
James, hang on a moment.
Juliet, starring one and only Renee.
Slowly. Let's go off of it. What's the off of it there? Do you know what I mean? Tell me when we go to one. Oh, let's go back to the trophy. Oh, you can take it right here. No trouble. Get out through here. There is. It's a very big exhibition. Yeah. Go back in time. Smoke no problems,
Very well spoken. Ah, what's in there? You want to go in there? Okay. Well, it's about Russian films, so maybe.
Where's that?
That's all right. That's the Daniel. Hello, comrade. Welcome aboard.
If I take your picture?
Of course you can. Yes, I'm only here for this purpose. Although I have other purposes as well. But,
Can you tell us about Soviet cinema?
yes, sure. Is this a movie camera rather than stills camera?
Yes.
Yes, sure. What we are seeing here is the funeral of Lenin. These men here are ministers from the government who were working alongside Lenin at the time of his death. She, however, is different. This woman, Clara Zetkin, in the fur coat, she's a German communist. Some people say she had an affair with Lenin while he was in exile in Germany. There is a story that there is a son of Lenin who is still alive today, who is an illegitimate son of Lenin, still living in Germany. But these other people are high-ranking officers from the Red Army.
Is that Lenin?
No, Lenin is the one. He's in this is his state funeral. He was earlier in the film. We are showing him his body lying in state, so the people know those people were mourners who we saw. This is Lenin at the top. There is a special effect there In the middle of the shot is his mausoleum. At the top of the shot is specially effected is documentary footage of Lenin while he was still alive. It shows that his message will live on after his death. Hello, comrade.
Who made the film?
It's Ziga Vertov. It's not his real name, but it's the name he adopted for his filmmaking purposes. And his real name was Denis Kaufman.
Who commissioned the film? Stalin?
No, I don't think it was Stalin. Stalin was one of the mourners there. Vertov was, in part, an independent filmmaker. He only made documentary films, and he made a series of documentary films. In fact, numbering them in a chronological order. That was number 21. But he made an organisation called Kino Glas, or Film Eye, and the films were not commissioned so much as it was an interest of his own. It was a small family operation. What we are seeing here, hello there, comrades, a piece from the very famous Soviet film Battleship Potemkin. It's the sequence on the steps at Odessa. This film was made in 1925, but it is based on an incident which happened in 1905. There's violence in Russia for many years before the revolution came about. And in 1905, the uprisings of 1905 gave post-revolutionary filmmakers a lot of material to work with. This film was very famous. It was released, it's Eisenstein's second film. It was released in the West as well as in his native Soviet Union, and was very well received in America and Western Europe. It can be seen as a film about freedom and revolution in general, rather than simply a communist film. Well, comrade, welcome aboard. I'm just seeing a piece here from Battleship Potemkin, very famous Russian film, 1925. You're making the video for personal use?
Yeah.
Yes, that's okay. That's all right. We don't mind that. Usually we get warning of the professional video making and so on, but handheld stuff is okay anyway. And if it's for personal use, it's even better. Sometimes you see people in this film who are wearing glasses. On a couple of occasions there are people shown wearing eyeglasses. That does mean something at the time this film was made, which has been forgotten by us now. But people in glasses were educated people at the time. They usually had different political aims. They were liberals calling for democracy rather than proletarians calling for revolution. And some people stopped wearing glasses for a while back in 1905 because they were unpopular with both sides. They were neither revolutionary enough nor conservative enough, and a lot of violence was directed simply at people wearing glasses without really asking any questions. So people stopped wearing them for a while. Notice how we never see the faces of the soldiers. The soldiers are simply seen as like a machine with no personalities of their own. They're just following orders. But this is based on historic truth. There was an incident in Odessa in 1905, and civilians were killed. And the Tsar had only been able to rule the country for several years before the revolution. The Tsar was only able to rule the country by using the army, by force. And this is a film made after the revolution to remind us why we had a revolution and why we don't want to go back to any of the old ways. Oh, comrades, welcome aboard. Soviet directors got very good at showing conflict. They originally started making films during propaganda films during war, and were showing the films to the army while the soldiers were resting from battle. Films with a propaganda message and for uplifting their morale were shown. Also, films were shown to people who we wished to recruit into the army as well. And it's easy to dress some people in the enemy, in the uniforms of the enemy, and then act out some atrocities like they're doing here. Then you show them to your own armed forces, and off they go. They're very angry. They don't necessarily know it was only acted out for the purposes of the cameras, so they are fighting more bravely. This is a very famous piece of film, the baby carriage going, or pram, or whatever you call it, going down the steps. Very, very well known. It has been repeated in other films as well as this one. It was very hard to film at the time. As I said, this was made in 1925. Cameras were hand-driven in those days. It's much more difficult to keep them still while you're filming.
Thank you.
All right.
Watch the chat.
I'm more sensitive. I bet it
I've
is.
seen that before.
Synchronized sound. To the Warner Brothers, to whom is due credit for this, the beginning of a new era in music and motion pictures, I offer my felicitation and my sincerest appreciation.
copy of this one. Yeah.
Do we have this?
Yeah.
Why did she go away from us anyway?
Right there.
Dad, why did she disappear?
Yes!
Non, maintenant c'est comme ça. Non, c'est comme ça maintenant. C'est pas là, c'est là, c'est là.
You're missing a lot. Come here. You know, quiet you. Sir. She'll have to stay in my arms and she's not going down. Yeah. Like that way, all that.
I got a story for you. It's not true, but I'm going to talk to you. And it concerns these Oscars. White stick.
Look at his face. You think this could really be him? They just mixed him up?
Be the Dalek.
I don't know.
Look, when it was announced that K9 was to leave the show, there was a public outcry. Save K9 campaign. Where did you see the tank comes out of his mouth? It's like little.
Yeah.
Look at the low angle picture. Look at the low angle picture.
Let's dominate you.
Right, you go upstairs. Can't catch him.
I will exterminate you. I will.
Stand up. Speak it to me.
Hello. Here. You've got little thoughts there, don't you? But they want to go to the shop.
Look at those clouds above, rolling overhead. It's like in that movie, the guy who controlled the storms. Remember? Oops. these are bells. There too.
Close eye out then on the left-hand side for Buckingham Palace. This was originally the front entrance to the palace, and the Queen now lives in a corner of the palace on the first floor. And many other members of her family have offices or rooms here also. It also boasts a cinema and a swimming pool. As we head away from Buckingham Palace, if you look ahead of us to the right, the building with the flags outside is the St James's Court Hotel. This is where the inquest was held into the sinking of the Titanic. And so we make our way now along a road called Petty France, named after an area of London inhabited by French refugees in the 19th century. On the right-hand side we can see the passport office, whilst on the left we can see the barracks of the Guard regiments. Building on the left-hand side at the end is the Home Office, and opposite that we can see St James's Park Station. St James's Park Station and the offices above are the headquarters of London Transport, responsible for all of the bus and underground rail systems in the capital. This building itself is world-renowned, having been built in 1929 in a cruciform, and is particularly famous for the sculptures of Day and Night by Jacob Epstein. Directly ahead of us we have a magnificent view of Westminster Abbey. The original abbey stood on this site in the 8th century, but the present building was started in 1050 AD by the Saxon king Edward the Confessor. He died a week after its consecration in January 1066 and became the first monarch to be buried here. On Christmas Day of the same year, William the Conqueror was the first king to be crowned here, and Westminster Abbey's importance was secured. Every English sovereign subsequently has been crowned here, with the exception of Edward V and Edward VIII. And you too can enter Westminster Abbey and experience for yourself this magnificent church. The last coronation was for Queen Elizabeth II. It was relatively trouble-free. Not so for William I, who when he heard the cheering outside thought there was a rebellion. For Richard...
Oh no.
Richard II, who lost a shoe, George IV, who nearly passed out from the heat, and Edward VII, who nearly gained his crown back to front. We are now approaching our stop at Westminster Abbey. Please keep your ticket safely if you're leaving us here, and check with the driver for times of buses from here later in the day. Over the wall on our left-hand side, we're looking into the grounds of Westminster School, one of England's most famous schools. The buildings were originally part of the Abbey and date back to the 11th century. Famous pupils here included Ben Jonson, Christopher Wren, and Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Ferry Road, so named from the day when the only horse ferry in London was operated from here. The right to collect tolls belongs to the Archbishop of Canterbury, whose London residence is on the other side of the river, and we shall see it shortly. And now we're going to cross the River Thames by going across Lambeth Bridge. This part of the Thames is still a tidal river, and it rises and falls by up to 20 feet twice a day. It used to carry ships laden with foreign produce, but now containerized freight traffic unloads its cargo much nearer the coast. This has left London's river chiefly for recreation. And if we now look to our left-hand side, we can see the Houses of Parliament, with the three debating chambers of the House of Commons and the House of Lords and the Palace of Westminster. Here the great affairs of state are debated and decided upon, and this particular building was designed by Sir Charles Barry, with detailed drawings by Augustus Putin. It was opened in 1852 and covers an area of 8 acres. There are 11 courtyards, 100 staircases, and over 1,000 rooms, all connected by 2 miles of passageways. Indeed, the riverside facade, which we can see, is 940 feet long. The square tower at the end of the building is the Victoria Tower. It's the tallest Gothic tower in the world, and if there's a flag flying there, then we know that the House of Commons is sitting. At night, there would also be a light at the top of Big Ben, which we can see at the other end of the building, and we shall be a little closer to later on in the film. Roundabout the red brick building there, which is Lambeth Palace, the official residence of the Archbishop of Canterbury, and has been so now since the end of the 12th century. Next to Lambeth Palace, the church we can see is St Mary's, now the home to the Museum of Garden History, a living collection of plants in honour to Charles I's royal gardeners, who incidentally are buried there, as is Captain Bligh, who survived the mutiny on the Bounty to become an equally unpopular governor of New South Wales, before being buried here at St Mary at Lambeth. Our tour bus stops here, a light here for Lambeth Palace, the Imperial War Museum, and a fine view of the Houses of Parliament.
Like James Bond. And welcome aboard London Fight, grand tour of London as we make our way now away from Lambeth Bridge. It's interesting to note that the road we're now travelling along was in fact reclaimed in the last century. Formerly Lambeth Palace and the gardens to our right stood on the bank of the River Thames. The Lambeth Water Ferry operates to take anyone wishing to cross the river. The last was the occupation of archbishops, since they carried on their small carriages and intended to stick the ferry. On our left-hand side is St Thomas's Hospital, named after Thomas à Becket, who was murdered in 1170 in Canterbury Cathedral. Originally founded in the 12th century, the hospital has now stood on this site since 1552. Early rules here included food only for those who attended chapel, no more than one person per bed, and no one was allowed to be treated subject to the sacrament at the same time. Thomas Nightingale established a training school for nurses here, and he is remembered also in the hospital, and also in the name of Public House, which you may be able to see on our right. Also on our right-hand side, the framed glass roof we can see international station. Our trains are from here, speeding underneath this channel, running directly to both Paris and London. Now turn left on the and on our right-hand side we're passing County Hall, the home of local government in London from 1911 until the Greater London Council was abolished in 1986. County Hall and a hotel. We're now approaching London Pride stop number 9. If you'd like to alight here, please keep your ticket safely and please have it ready for reboarding. Across on our right, we can see the South Bank Lion, manufactured using Codestone. The weathering properties of Codestone are excellent, but unfortunately the exact formula is now lost. Looking directly ahead of us, we can see Big Ben. In fact, it's really the clock tower or St. Stephen's Tower. Big Ben is the name of the bell. There are various stories as to why it's called Big Ben. Too much like the insert Sir Benjamin Hall as the unpopular chief commissioner of works, and Big Benjamin Count, a well-known boxer of the time who owned a pub nearby. The construction of Big Ben was a tale of disasters. Charles Barry, one of the designers of the House of Parliament, was the world's largest property, 316 feet high above London. Exceptional accuracy was demanded, but on completion of the clock in 1854, the tower wasn't ready. A bell was then delivered, but the chime was awful, so they doubled the weight of the clapper, and that in turn cracked the bell. Eventually, a new bell was then cast here in London, and that's the one we have here today. The hands of the clock were made of iron, but the clock mechanism wasn't powerful enough to move them, so they were remade in gunmetal. Even this proved to be too heavy, so a third set made of hollow metal were installed, and these still work well here today. Looking ahead, we can see Parliament Square, London's first one-way traffic system. In the centre, we can see several statues of famous statesmen, including one of Winston Churchill, which, interestingly, has an electrical current running through it to stop London standing on it. Directly ahead of us, there's a small church on the corner of the square, which is St Margaret's of Westminster, dating from 1523. Married at St Margaret's were Milton, Pitts, and Winston Churchill, for this is the parish church of the House of Commons. Behind St Margaret's, we can see the very much larger church, which is Westminster Abbey. Very shortly, we shall arrive at London Pride stop number 11 in Parliament Street. Alight at Parliament Street or Downing Street, the Cenotaph and the Cabinet Ballroom. In the centre of the road is the Cenotaph. The Cenotaph is a memorial to those who have died for this country, and every November a remembrance service is held here. Her Majesty the Queen, leading statesmen and members of the public, thousands of ex-servicemen and women, come here to pay their respects and have done so every year since 1919.
There's a big tank down the upper end as well. There's a big tank down the upper end. First World War and the late one tomorrow.
The Prime Minister doesn't have to come very far to get to the Cenotaph. He can really Downing Street to which is the next day. Barrier further down. The Prime Minister is just up there. Number 11. It's not possible to get any closer to the railings at the end of the street unless you're on official business. Whitehall is famous now for government demand. White building we can see is the Ministry of Defence. Known in some circles as the iceberg, they are known as fighting practices above ground, while naval launch rockets display beneath ground level. We shall be stopping at London Pride stop number 12. You need to alight here for Horse Guards Parade and the Banqueting House. silver blues and royals, whilst the white plume indicates the lifeguards are on duty. The guard is mounted on horseback during the day, symbolically protecting the entrance to the royal parks. There is a guard changing ceremony here at 11 o'clock, except on Sundays when it's at 10 o'clock. But after 4 o'clock,
the Texas Embassy is right in the heart of London, where Texas deals with London.
now actually become a floating museum. To visit her, you need to get off at stop number 19. It's heavily used by commuters from London Bridge Station, and that's why the pavement on our left is wider than the one on our right. And so we turn left into Tooley Street, a famous old shipping street here in London, but home now to one of London's most popular attractions, the London Dungeon. The London Dungeon is dedicated to torture, punishment and all things horrible, and it's on your right. You may purchase your ticket for the London Dungeon from your driver. You'll also need to alight here for Hayes Galleria, which is full of shops and restaurants, and also the Prisoner of War Experience, an exhibition dedicated to the achievements of Londoners facing the Blitz.